Before this video starts, I want to just say this whole video is me sitting right here at my desk, just looking at the camera and talking. There's not really much, well, there's nothing else happening. It's just me talking. I guess you could call it a story time, as much as I hate to say that. Story times get such bad raps for how clickbait the titles are. This video basically explains why I uploaded 3 videos when I started my channel and then just stopped. And it also has a bit of a personal story attached to it that it's not hard for me to talk about, but it is embarrassing for me to talk about because, well, it's embarrassing that I let myself go through it. Anyway, you'll just have to watch the rest of the video to get an explanation and understand what I'm talking about. So hopefully you guys enjoy just listening to me talk for the next however long it takes me to tell this story. To start off, I didn't like my videos that I made. Now I know I only made 3 and it takes time to find your style and just learn to make videos. I understand that, but I didn't like those 3 that I made, and over the summer and fall I did try to make videos. I was recording, I had a bunch of ideas, I had motivation, but when I would go to start editing the videos, I realized I didn't have near enough footage, and so when I would put the clips together, I'd have like 2 to 3 minutes worth of video with a bunch of just gaps and spaces in between clips, and there wasn't enough there to make a video on. I just didn't know enough what I was doing. I didn't plan enough. I just wasn't able to make videos as much as I wanted to, and so I got frustrated with it, and so I kind of just dropped it. So at the beginning of 2018, or I should say the end of the 2017-2018 school year, I was supposed to graduate. When I first got enrolled into high school, I got enrolled to an online school about a month late, and so, I got my books. It was a month behind already, not too big of a deal, I wasn't worried about it. And so I was doing my school, and about midway through the school year, I started to get frustrated with it, and I began to use the excuse that I was enrolled a month late as the reason to why I was 2 months behind, because that math totally makes sense. But that's just my thought process at the time. That's what I was using as my excuse. Just anything to get the attention off of the fact that I just wasn't doing school as much as I was supposed to be. So at the end of my freshman year, I had probably done 75% of the school year. I was behind, but not near as behind as I would end up getting. So sophomore year, I started the year focused, determined. I was doing school again. I was back on track. Still those 2 months behind. I hadn't made any school up yet. And then again, about midway through the year, I started to get frustrated with it again and was falling behind even more. And after the end of my first 2 years of high school, I had only done about 1.5 years worth of school. Into my junior year, here I am going into my 3rd year of school, having only done 1.5 years worth, and I was frustrated with myself. I was just being lazy, and so I just wasn't doing school. And I don't remember how much I did over my junior year, but at the end of my junior year, I'd probably only done 2 years worth of school. So at this point, I was 1 year behind. I still had my full senior year left, but 3 years worth of high school and only 2 years had been done. And so at the beginning of my senior year, so 2017, about August, I got hired at Starbucks. Probably the worst possible time for me to get a job, but my parents were supportive of it. I just wanted to get out of the house a little bit more, so a job was perfect for me, and I was enjoying that, but it got my attention off of school, even though I was like, no, I can definitely do school and a job at the same time. I didn't. It just wasn't working, and probably from the time I got hired to the beginning of my senior year all the way till January, I didn't do any school. At this point, I realized I'm supposed to be graduating here in a few months, and I've only done 2 years worth of high school. Graduation is not happening when it's supposed to be. And so I kind of got scared and also embarrassed, and it was just frustrating. I was frustrated with myself because I hadn't done school, and it was tough. Even though I was feeling all those things, I realized I had to do something. And so I did a little bit of school. I said, you know what, I'm gonna do school over the summer too. By the end of the summer, I'll be done with most of it and I'll just have a little bit left. Well, I did some at the end of my senior year, but when summer came, I didn't do anything. Nothing happened like I was wanting it to. My plan did not work. So at the end of what was supposed to be my senior year, I still had a year and a half worth of school going through summer. Technically, I am a super senior at this point and still have a year and a half worth of school left. Now, I never failed any classes. I always had good grades. It wasn't because I was failing, it's just because I was being lazy and wasn't doing the work. That's the only reason I was falling behind. And so, I think it was September, I was like, no, this is it. I can't do this anymore. I'm stressing out with how much school I have left. I can't handle this. I have to finish it at some point. There was a point where I was just trying to find the easy way out. I was trying to get my parents to let me just go to the college and take the test to get my GED. Basically drop out of high school and just take my GED test. I proposed that to my parents, and thankfully my dad told me no. He was like, you're finishing high school, you're graduating, and told me that the feeling of accomplishment, of accomplishing something, it's good for me. And so he told me to do it. But what my dad had told me was, quit looking at how much you have left and how much time you have to do it. Instead, look at today. What can you do today? Do that. And then if you just keep focusing on what you can do today, and if you keep doing what you can, then eventually you'll reach your goal. And so that's what I was doing. And in September and October, I was working non-stop. At this point, I was full-time at Starbucks, and so I only had 2 days off a week. One of those days was Sunday. Sunday was my day where I would go to church. I would actually just take the day off. I wouldn't do school. I wouldn't go to work. And then my other day off would usually either be a Wednesday or a Thursday. So on my day off, I would do probably between 4 to 8 hours worth of school. There was actually a couple days where I did 10 hours. And then on the days that I did work, I would work my shift, I would go out to my car, grab my books, and then I would sit inside Starbucks and do school between 3 to 6 hours. And so I was literally spending all day, every day at Starbucks, either working or doing school. Somehow, I don't know how I did it, but I was doing that with no food on my day off when I would go in there. I don't know why, but I didn't bring snacks, and so I was just living off of all the coffee that I was drinking, and it was probably horrible for me. There was actually one day where I got off work and then I was just going through school, and I was like, no, I gotta do a little bit more. I kept pushing myself, and then I got home and I was just sick. I don't know what the deal was, but I was so sick. And somehow I woke up the next morning and it was fine. So it was a weird experience some of the days that I had there just doing school. So at the end of October, I had done, well, between September and October, those 2 months, I managed to do over a year's worth of school. Now, that wasn't all senior classes. That was like a class from my sophomore year, some from my junior year, some from my senior. Just the way my school sent me the curriculum, it wasn't, here's your freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. It's kind of a mixture. And so that wasn't all senior classes, but I did over a year's worth of school in 2 months. I am not bragging. I don't think I can brag after the story I just told, but I am genuinely amazed at how much school I was able to do in those 2 months. And it wasn't fun, it wasn't easy, it was tiring, it was so much work. I can't tell you how much pain my hands were in from all the writing and typing I was doing, but it's so worth it just being done with it. Throughout those 4 years, there was so many days where I was tired of it. Like I said, I wanted to just basically drop out of high school, go and take my GED test. I could have avoided those 2 months of working all day, every day. I could have avoided all those days where I was starving, sitting in Starbucks with no food. I could have avoided all that if I had just given a little bit more focus. I didn't have to work like crazy. I could have just given a little bit more focus, a little bit more effort over those 4 years where I was actually supposed to be in high school, I could have avoided September and October where I worked all day every day. And honestly, that's all it takes. It just takes a little bit. You don't have to give all your energy to everything and drain yourself. Just genuinely being interested in something and focused in something goes a long way, and it's so worth it to do it in the time that you have. Now, if there's anybody in a similar situation as I was, don't worry. Like, if you aren't gonna put in the work, it's not gonna happen. But it is possible. It's not fun, it's not easy, but it's possible if you just put in the work. And if there's somebody who maybe isn't in this situation, but you see yourself start to fall behind, don't let yourself. Do it while you have the time. Just like I said, a little bit each day. Don't look at how much you have left. Just look at what you can do right now and get it done, because it'll be so worth it. You won't have to stress over having a ton to do in a short amount of time. You can just do a little bit extra each day, and it adds up. It really does. So again, hopefully this encouraged somebody, and I hope you guys enjoyed just hearing me talk. Leave a like on the video, comment, subscribe. Go follow me on my Instagram. I post on there every time a new video is up, so you can know when I've uploaded. And yeah, guys, hope you have an awesome day.